What is the preservation and archival material around the world? The preservation is a crucial element in the whole operation of records program. The aim of archival preservation is to prolong the useful life of useful research information. However, the archival material is the records in any formats retained for their continuing value. Some examples of archival materials are manuscripts, letters, photographs, moving images and sound materials, artworks, books, diaries, artifacts, and the digital equivalents of all of these things. Next, there are 4 issues in the preservation. The first issue is lack of competent manpower in preservation and conservation material. For any preservation and conservation program to succeed in library and archive, there must be adequate and well-trained manpower. This is because preservation and conservation information resources is a specialized field of knowledge that requires information professionals who understand the physical and chemical nature of materials in their archive holdings. The limited knowledge and skills in preservation of the people tasked with the preservation and conservation responsibilities may result in less priorities of conservation work. The second issue in preservation is lack of equipment of preservation. Lack of suitable or inadequate equipment and material contribute significantly to present the poor status of preservation and conservation of information material. There are major types of necessary equipment and supplies include first, computers, word processors, printers, and photocopies. Second is equipment appropriate for transporting boxes and other archival material. And the third is folder document cases or other container appropriate for long-term preservation of archival materials.
Next, the third issue, lack of awareness of the importance of preservation among information professionals. Reflected in the paucity of information about preservation management, information professionals need to highlight the overall context of archive management, instead focus on technical issues like mass deacidification or digitization. Some of these may stem from the perception that preservation is only a step away from the world of old repairer or binder. Example of inadequate infrastructure. Number 1. Preservation is strongly dependent on the availability of adequate infrastructure. Number 2. Infrastructure for the preservation of records and archival material includes temperature and humidity regulators as well as lighting equipment. In short, adequate infrastructure is important as it will prevent the materials from. Fourth issue, employee lack of training. A lack of established training and development opportunities was previously a considerable barrier to those wishing to learn more about digital preservation. A greater barrier is not the time and expense involved in attending face-to-face training, but increasingly more online and distance learning options are being made available, so this impediment will also decrease. Digital preservation courses have also previously suffered from criticism relating to an emphasis on theory rather than practice. This too is changing with more practical exercise and tools that must be incorporated into training. Information sharing and short staff exchanges with similar organizations can provide a particularly effective method for staff development and learning. What is the definition of digital preservation? Digital preservation combines policies, strategies, and actions to ensure the accurate rendering of authenticated content over time, regardless of the challenges of media failure and technological change. Digital preservation applies to both born digital and reformatted content. Digital preservation policies document an organization's commitment to preserve digital content for future use in specified file formats to be preserved, the level of preservation to be provided, and ensure compliance with standards and best practices for responsible stewardship of digital information. Notably, the digital preservation strategies and actions address content creation, integrity, and maintenance.
Digital preservation institution, there is 4, which is library, archive, organization that create records digitally, fourth, museum, digital surrogate of recollections and artifacts. Importance of digitization. First, act as a backup. Paper-based material may deteriorate faster due to disasters such as fire and flood. If the original archive is deteriorated, the digital archive may be used as a backup. Second, original archive can be preserved. The original archive can be kept in the storage to avoid damages caused by inappropriate handling. The movement of the digital archive can be monitored easier than the original archive that is located at different storage based on the types. Third, protect the original archive. Digitization ensures that the original archive is safe from missing or stolen. Incidents can be avoided if the archive is always located at their place without moving from the shelf. Fourth, maintain the historical value of the information. Digital preservation for the archive can ensure that it is still accessible and can be used as a reference though the content of the original archive cannot be clearly seen. Advantages. First, can be accessed through the internet. Digital resources can be accessed through the internet anywhere, anytime, according to the individual choice. Second, can be accessed requests easily. Digital archive can be accessed requests for a document with easily by creating multiple choices of requested document. Third, can be managed easily. Archive records in digital format can be managed easily compared to other traditional management system. Fourth, can locate information easily. Using digital format, you can locate information easily as you don't have to take time going to the old files box. Disadvantages. First, funding digital archive project. Creation of digital archive is expensive as it requires an enormous funding in order to create or maintain digital archive. Second, inadequate technology infrastructure. Almost all developing countries have inadequate technology infrastructure that create a major problem for preservation of digital archive. Third, lack of policy in developing countries regarding the digitization and digital preservation. Fourth, cost of storage and backup. While the storage costs continue to decline, the growth of digital records continue to increase. The cheaper storage sometimes can lead to the false idea that everything can be saved.
Okay, next we move to the materials that can be digitized. So this is the examples for the material, which is maps, files, paper, poster, manuscript, and also printed book. Okay, next we move to the digital preservation issue. So the first issue is security and privacy. It is important to rely on relevant expertise within your organization and beyond it through government and other networks for general information, security procedures, and also advice. You may also need appropriate advice for specific digital preservation procedures and also requirements. Rigorous security procedures will ensure compliance with any legal and regulatory requirements. And the second one is protect digital materials from inadvertent or deliberate changes. And the third one is provide an audit trail to satisfy accountability requirements. And the fourth one is protect the authenticity of digital materials. And the last one is safeguard against theft or loss. For the second issue is changes in technology. Because digital material is machine dependent, it is not possible to access the information unless there is appropriate hardware and associated software which will make it intelligible. Some technology advances examples are size of floppy disk, and the second one is Windows operating system upgrade, and the last one is thousands of software programs common in the early 1990s are now extinct and unavailable.
The third issue in digital preservation is about the authenticity and context. Electronic records should be handled properly with established procedures in accordance with National Archive Guidelines. This is to ensure focus on originality of an information entity, avoid loss of ability to access or render digital objects, allow digital resources to be reliably reused, keeping resources as close to their original form as possible. This is to ensure that all data is complete and there is no issues of loss or incomplete data in the future. Okay, the next slide is about the strategies to overcome the issues in digital preservation. The first strategy is about the technology preservation strategy, which is preserve the original software and possible hardware that was used to create and access the information later.
This is very important to ensure that all the data stored in the system can be accessed in the future. Nowadays, we have a modern technology, so the staff in charge needs to identify the type of technology that can be used to read the information properly. Then, the second strategy is about the skill program for staff. Organization should increase collaboration programs to develop ideas and skills among the staff. Organization need to release a budget to provide skills program to staff. In fact, they can even make countries like Britain and Africa that have a good records management as their role models. Without the right skills to do preservation, it can lead the destructions of records in the future. The next strategy is digital information migration strategy. This is to ensure that the digital information is re-encoded in new format before the old format becomes obsolete. And the last strategy is using standard file and media format. Using standard file and media format as recommended by reputable sources for the easy access. So, in conclusion, digital preservation is very suitable for the use of information agencies today, especially in line with the development of technology from time to time. Digital preservation can help organizations preserve records over a long period of time and make it easier for those records to be accessed anywhere and anytime. We as information professionals need to be aware of this because every record created is very important for future plans and generations. That's all from us. Thank you for watching.